Hi everyone, I'm Alyssa Scheidemann and welcome to my channel. I'm going to be doing a August reading wrap-up, book wrap-up video, and I'm going to be reviewing the books that I have read and completed in the month of August. So let's start. So the first book that I'm going to discuss that I have read and finished reading in the month of August is the book Artful by the author Peter David. Now, this book I read as an ebook and an audiobook, and I'll insert an image of the book cover somewhere because I read it as an ebook and audiobook. So this book is basically, to discuss about the book, it's basically kind of, to me, it's more like, it's kind of like a spin-off book of the Oliver Twist book by Charles Dickens, and except it doesn't follow Oliver Twist. It follows instead the character Artful Dodger. And so it takes place in 19th century England because it takes place around or just after the story of Oliver Twist, even though I've never actually read Oliver Twist, but I do know the story. So I kind of knew the setting and the original story of Oliver Twist. But anyways, Artful is also an adventure book that takes place, like I said, not long after the Oliver Twist story. So it takes place in 19th century England. And what's different is that the story actually has vampire characters, and that's actually what one of the elements that drew me to try to read this book, to give this book a chance. But I did not enjoy this book as much as I thought I would have. And to me, it just, and I've been trying, since I had gotten the ebook, I've been trying to read this book for a while. And this read was my third attempt. And so I started off reading the ebook, but then I switched to only reading it through the audiobook. And I found that it was easier to read that way, because when I started reading it through the ebook, I found, and this is probably why my previous attempts, I would always start and then just stop, not go back, because I found the story to move in a slow progression, and I also felt like it was hard to get into, to hold my attention, but the audiobook made it easier to listen in order to read it. So, and because of the slow progression and that I had found it difficult for me to actually get into it, I did rate it a 2 out of 5. Well, I gave it a 2 and not a 1 because I did, on some level, kind of like it-ish because of the audiobook, but for the most part, I didn't quite like it as much as I thought I would have. So that's that first book, Artful. So the next book that I'm going to discuss is that I read and finished in the month of August is the book Heat Rises by the fictional author of Richard Castle. And this book, the story is based off of the fictional story from the TV show Castle. And I was a huge fan of the show Castle, the TV show. I have a goal of reading all of these books that were published that are supposed to be from the character Richard Castle. So it's a crime drama and it's a mystery book. These Heat books follow the character Nikki Heat, who was based off of the character Kate Beckett from the TV show Castle. So it follows her character, and she has a case to solve, and these books are basically each book is kind of like an episode of Castle, except the characters in the books are supposed to be based off of the fictional characters from the show, if that makes sense. And since I'm such a huge fan of the show itself, and I watched it for all the years until it was canceled. But this book, the character Nikki Heat has to solve a homicide case, and it's more than, there's more to just what's going on than what she originally thinks. She finds that a case that her captain originally had when he was a detective was somehow connected to this new case. I did really like the book, and I do really love these type of books. And so I read the first Nikki Heat books, and I plan to read the ones after this one. I've had this book quite a while. It's on my to-be read list for a while, and I just finally got around to reading it. But I did really like it, and I did rate it a 4 out of 5, only because it started off kind of slow. It did start off slow, but then as the story progressed, it did progress faster, and I do really love all the characters and the story itself. So that's why I rated it a 4 out of 5, and I thought it was a really good book. So moving on, the third book that I read and finished in the month of August is the second book from Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald. The which is the screenplay, and obviously it's by J.K. Rowling. She's one of my favorite authors. And I believe I have mentioned in my last video that I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. So, I did see the film, and it's in theaters, and I did eventually get the screenplay book, and I finally got around to reading it in the month of August, and of course, I loved it. And so this book is the screenplay written, and it's pretty much exactly like the movie. So I don't really think I need to explain what it's about. But I did really enjoy it. It is in the screenplay format, which is what I was trying to explain. But so it is very quick to read because it's written as a screenplay. And it just was an enjoyable, quick read. And obviously, I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, and I love these prequels. I love that she's doing Fantastic Beasts prequels. I know not everybody loves them, but I do really love these Fantastic Beasts prequels. Well, which these prequels are prequels to the Harry Potter storyline. But I did rate it, of course, 5 out of 5. It just was a really quick and nice read, and I just enjoy Fantastic Beasts and Harry Potter. So this one was a good one to me. So, which leaves us to the final book that I read and finished. So the final book that I finished in the month of August is a poetry book. It's a poetry book with poems about each of the yoga poses. I write poetry, and I do practice yoga as well. So to me, that's why I was drawn to it, because of those two things. And I love reading poetry. To me, reading poetry is a way to help me become more inspired when I write my own poetry. And it was a quick read as well. And, it's one of those quick reads that, you just want to finish a book. And I love yoga. I love practicing yoga, and I love poetry. As I mentioned, I write poetry I love to read poetry to keep me inspired. And this book is called Yoga Poems, Lines to Unfold, and it's by Lisa Lowitz. I really enjoyed this book as well. So I rated this book a 5 out of 5 as well. So each poem is titled after the pose that it's about. So each poem is specific to one pose from yoga. And also she leaves blank spaces in the back where you can write your own poetry. So I did enjoy it. And as I said before, if I'd have to say, I can't really pick a favorite book from the month of August. So I'm just going to pick a least favorite book, which my least favorite book from the month of August was the ebook audiobook Artful. So I did really enjoy these other 3 books of Heat Rises, Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald, and the Yoga Poems book. So that's all the books that I have read and finished in the month of August. Thank you for watching. If you have liked this video, then click the like button below. Comment below if you have read any of these books that I've mentioned, or you plan on reading any of these books. And if you like my channel and you want to see future videos, then click the subscribe button. Thanks for watching. Bye. Till next time.